Let's talk some Ole Miss recruiting because there's a big-time matchup in Oxford on Saturday. It's going to bring out some top recruits as well, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. With Georgia coming to town, there's going to be some big names as well. I got Ole Miss recruiting insider Zach Berry from OM Spirit on today, and we're talking five-star wide receiver Caleb Cunningham. He's going to be on campus again. So is wide receiver Nan Montgomery. He's coming to the Florida Gators. So you know what time it is. It's almost time for Lane Kiffin to enter flip season. We're going to get into it, but first, Ole Miss fans, hit subscribe to the On3 Recruits channel. This is the best recruiting channel on all of YouTube, and we want you to be a part of it. So jump on board and hit subscribe. All right, let's bring in Zach Berry of OM Spirit. Caleb Cunningham back in Oxford, and before we got you on, I was thinking, when Caleb Cunningham committed to Alabama, all the experts were on here, Chad Simmons, Steve Wiltfong, and they all said he's solidly committed to Alabama, but in the end, the in-state schools are going to be there. And now here we are, we're a month out, the in-state schools, well, there's one, talking to Steve Wiltfong, it's Ole Miss. So he's back on campus. Zach, what are you hearing about Caleb Cunningham and Ole Miss at this point?
Yeah, I'll say this about Caleb Cunningham. The one thing that you have to appreciate is he is going to be honest and forthright with everything he says. A lot of people are like, oh, he's a big visit guy. He's going to love the school that he just leaves. And yeah, maybe he does, but he's also going to tell you, hey, I'm committed to Alabama. I love what Kalen DeBoer and the Crimson Tide are doing, but I also really like Ole Miss. And also, he's going to rattle off who he also likes and who he wants to visit. So he has not shied away from being honest about where things stand. And Ole Miss, like you said, is right there next to Alabama. I feel I'm inching closer and closer to it. I think Ole Miss might be close to pulling even with Alabama heading into the weekend.
Any chance coming out of the weekend we hear anything on his recruitment, or do you think this goes to signing day? I mean, we're less than a month away, so does this go to signing day where he makes one of those quote-unquote final decisions?
I think it'll go to signing day. He'll certainly talk. I mean, the kid's great. He's a hell of an interview. I mean, Chad, Steve, he talks to me, he talks to everybody. I mean, you love that as doing what I do. So he's going to talk, and he's going to give you his honest opinion about what he saw on the field, off the field, all of that. The one caveat about Cunningham is, if you don't know, he's a hell of a basketball player. Mm-hmm. So he is keen on playing his final year of high school basketball as well, because Choctaw County's pretty damn good because they've got Caleb Cunningham on the team. So that could throw a wrench in the timeline, but things can change. He might decide to do something different, but I think this is going to go down to signing day, because this could be kind of an old school recruiting battle where he's torn between two offenses, two coaching staffs, two schemes that he fits very well into, and it's going to be a tough decision for him.
All right, another big-time wide receiver on campus. That's Nan Montgomery. He's out of the South Florida area, committed to the Florida Gators, obviously with Billy Napier potentially on the hot seat as the season wears on. He's taken some visits. So what do you make of Montgomery being on campus this weekend, and where do things stand between him and Ole Miss?
Yeah, he's been pretty quiet since committing to the Gators. And then obviously as the season has been going, Florida's been pretty up and down. They've had some injuries, had some bright spots. They've had some games where they've looked good. But I had a source tell me that Montgomery might be doing a little bit of a contingency plan tour if the staff were to not be there next season. But, I'm going to get a feel for Montgomery this weekend. Like I said, he hasn't talked much, but I think he is also going to get a feel for the Ole Miss staff and to kind of see how game day is, what the staff is saying to him, how the players interact, and trying to get a feel for that culture. But I know the staff is very high on him. They think he is a hell of a playmaker and a guy that plays some high-level high school ball down there at Miami Central. The Rockets program is one of the best in the country. So He can ball. I think it's going to be a little bit of both. Both parties are going to kind of feel each other out this weekend.
Mm-hmm. All right, one more flip target on campus I want to ask you about. That's Mississippi State commit Tony Mitchell, a DB. What type of priority is he when it comes to flip targets?
Yeah, so I wrote about that in one of our War Room posts that you can read over at ohmspirit.com. Ole Miss was after him hard. It was pretty much Ole Miss, West Virginia, and Mississippi State. He
Right.
commits to Mississippi State. Now he's back. He was originally going to be on campus for a game day, and didn't show up, had to reschedule. So now, if he shows up, I think that will kind of show both parties are interested, because obviously Ole Miss is interested in inviting him back for this one. So I think we'll get a feel for this one as well after Saturday into Sunday. But yeah, he's got the relationship with Pete Golding from his time at Alabama. So he's familiar with Pete and how he coaches and the defense he runs. But Ole Miss is going to look to add some plug and play guys, via the portal. But this one will be via JUCO, kind of old school. But they're going to lose some experienced safeties after this season. So Tony Mitchell is a dude that Pete Golding believes in, obviously, and is going to bring him in. And they're probably going to ask the tough questions and have a good one-on-one interview and see how things shake out on Sunday when we get a chance to talk to Tony.
All right. Well, exciting weekend and just generally exciting times for Ole Miss recruiting because flip season is upon us. So Ole Miss fans, talk to Zach and I, comment section below. How are you guys feeling about this game against Georgia? What's your score prediction? Also, flip season is here. Who's your biggest target on the board? Let us know. Comment section below.